Hi everybody. Well, we've been shopping. It's Friday and we just got back from grocery shopping and got everything put away. And there was some big orchids there. $52. Now, I'm sorry. I mean, they're not species, they're hybrids, and they were the normal type we get, but prices have gone up, and I'm sorry, I just couldn't do it. No. And then I seen some smaller ones, the minis, they were $27. So I came home empty-handed, but I have a plan. I have a plan, and we're getting to winter, so we sometimes freeze at night. There's frost on the roofs of the houses, so we won't be getting any mail that can get hurt, like flowers. So anyway, I want to talk about something else before we get into if your orchids aren't spiking, I want them to. So we're going to talk a bit about that and a new study and their findings. But first, I have to address something else. Last night after supper, Jack and I usually spend a little time just playing some games on the computer just to relax. So anyway, he comes upstairs because he was downstairs seeing Mom. And there was a parcel at the door. And I didn't know. I never heard a parcel come. And it was late for a parcel. So anyway, he's used to getting things from Amazon because he orders parts and pieces and little things that men like. And so anyway, he just opened it. He didn't see that my name was on it. So he comes up and he has these. Yes, these. And he puts them down beside me. I said, "What are those?" He says, "Well, you should know you ordered them." And I said, "I didn't order them. I've never seen them before, but they sure are nice." And I remember saying, boy, if I saw those baskets with the cocoa hair matting, they're so good. And I made my own matting from a roll of matting, and it was kind of, not a real good fit. But these come pressed, and I guess Amazon has them, and I didn't know. And I love hanging things because they can hang from the windows. They can hang and use up a lot of upper space. They can even hang from traffic cones. So yeah, I was looking for a couple orchids to put in them, new ones, but I had another plan that we're going to make another video. But anyway, I wasn't going to start showing gifts that I got because I didn't want those that don't send gifts to feel bad, but I wanted to thank the people that do send gifts. But I'm not trying to get into, I don't want anyone to feel bad. I want everyone to be happy, and I was happy. It was a surprise. And I want to thank Mary Ann for surprising me with these two beautiful baskets. Now, it was a surprise, and thank you for sure very much. So I guess from now on I'll show this because it's important to show how many nice and thoughtful people. Not that if you're not sending them, you're not thoughtful, but it's just something that really did. Wow, I felt special. I showed Mom and she, "Oh, isn't that nice?" She says, "It's so nice." Yeah, because sometimes when you're doing videos, sometimes you might have other issues going on, and yet you still do them. And I enjoy all of you. I enjoy your comments. So let's not go into that. So anyway, I want to thank Marianne very much for the lovely gift. Now, I want to, some of you write and say, well, my orchids aren't spiking yet. Now, you have to remember that in the spring, I did a video when I moved mine outside, and I mentioned they have to have lots of light. You know, I had years ago, somebody sent a picture of some orchids on someone's patio that nobody pays any attention to. They've been outside on the patio for years, and they're flowering and they're doing all this. It was a hotter area. I can't remember where it was. And they said, nobody's fertilizing it, nobody's doing anything, and look at it. And that's right. Sometimes our problem is overcare, not undercare. And a lot of the stuff we do, they probably can do without if they have the other important ingredients. And what is that? Well, these were on a patio, uncovered. They were getting lots of light, but not direct sunlight. Your orchids, when they're growing, in the growing season, the light lasts longer. It's not like winter right now. That's when you want your orchids to be getting that light as much as they can take. They still need that nighttime rest of maybe 10 to 12 hours, but they need that light, because that's with photosynthesis, that's where they save up and gather all their energies in them for those spikes that they're going to give in the winter or spring, depending on where you are. So it was probably getting all the light it could take, and warmth. I think it was up as high as 86, and I think that's pushing it, but a study I was reading said, but anyway, from your 80s to your 85s, let's say, Fahrenheit, that would be 28, I think, Celsius. So those warm temperatures signal to the plant that it can grow. It will start getting leaves and roots, and the size of the leaves, the length of the leaves, all is important in those roots, but those are all important things that have to happen so we get spikes in this time of the year to spring. Now, if your orchids are in a controlled environment all the time and the temperature never changes, whether it's air conditioning or heat or whatever it is, temperature never changes, then they are not going to get that heavy growth spell, because they're not in the, they're probably more around 70, they're not getting to 80. Now if the temperature gets up to 90, that gets so hot they slow down again. So there's kind of an optimum growth temperature in the summer. So here we are now in winter, and our orchids have been somewhere with lots of light and warmth. And this year for us, I'm afraid we were in the house, outside the house, we were in the over 90 range where growth slowed. That couldn't be helped, not by me. So, and we never had air conditioning, so it just was hot. So now here we are with winter. What do we have to do to ensure we're getting spikes? Excuse me. We want to make sure that our orchids are getting plenty of light. Plenty. Now, in the summer, I'd have to take my orchids out of the 2 west windows where my big windows are that I keep my orchids, because it's too hot and the direct sun will burn them. Okay, you want lots of light, but you don't want that direct sun. Now, I did put blinds on the inside of one window so that next year this isn't such a problem. And so in the winter, to get those spikes coming, you want to make sure you're giving lots of light. And I'm going to show you what I do. And I started a few years ago that I have LED strip lighting, full spectrum, that goes around my windows. Now that's not a lot of light, but when the days are shorter in the winter and cloudy and rainy like it is today, they're probably not getting enough light, so I have them on. And sometimes I'll even leave another light on. And I'm actually, after reading another study, a recent study, I think I may purchase another lighting source for these dark, dark days. Why? Because the light will help the spikes grow up quicker. If they're not getting enough light, they could take months before they grow up to flower and do what they have to do. And so light is very important. And also, if your temperature is not changing, you do need that drop in temperature of 10 to 15 degrees below what your day temperature is. So if you're in a controlled environment, your house is always 70 degrees or around there, then maybe you have a garage with lots of light, but cooler temperatures. Maybe another room where you can shut off the cooler temperatures or put on cooler temperatures. I don't know, however you have to do it. I had, on times when I left my orchids outside as long as I could, but I have to bring them in. But I did put them back out for that fall cool down, which came early this year. Therefore, the spikes came early this year. So they do need that cool down to tell them to send out spikes. So those are the important things. Plus, we have our water schedule, each one different. Anybody that wants my water schedule, I've been following it a few years now. You can tweak it to suit you, but I would gladly give it to you if you ask in the comments. And I've been following it, and I'm only using the commercial fertilizer for 2 or 3 days of each month. Well, I water once a week. So each month, if we have 4 weeks, and I've got a 6-week water schedule. So I have other things that I'm doing that are more organic. And I found that the seaweed extract and the black tea, my orchids almost go, oh, thank you, thank you. I look at them and they look wonderful. I notice more from that, and I sure am not going to quit doing it. So I wanted to... Also, I'm going to leave a link to this study because I think it's very important. It's vegetative traits can predict flowering quality in Phalaenopsis orchid and the variation of response to light and temperature. So they're talking all about that in here. And some of it you might want to skip over. It might be too detailed for you, but I made it through. And the conclusion at the end is very good. They studied the interaction between temperature and light on the growth and development of Phalaenopsis. And the study led to several new insights. And they did studies in greenhouses, and you can read all about this. And this was published May 11th, 2021. It's a recent study, and it was pretty thorough from what I read. But increase in temperature optimum increases plant development. So it will increase, not that your plant will continue to grow at a normal thing, but the increase in temperature will increase and promote leaf and growth. And if it gets too hot, it will also inhibit flowering. So to increase growth and development, the light intensity was found to make a big difference. And you can read about that. An increase in temperature can increase plant development. That was studied and found out. But if it gets too hot, then it will reduce the growth. The amount of vegetative growth that you get in the growing season, which was in the spring, and people in Australia are into that now, will dictate the flowering possibilities for us now. And it's very interesting, so I'll put the link there. I'll also put the full title in case you have trouble with the link, so that you can search it out yourself. So I did want to say that. And now we're going to have a planet show and tell, so I'll show you what's going on in my windows. And of course, Alphinia is doing it again. She has one little flower about finished, but another one that just opened. So the top one just opened, the bottom one's, no, the top one is finishing, the bottom one is just open. Is she amazing? Now I would like to see a new leaf. There's no new leaves, but the root growth looks good. But this was a tiny little spiking stem. And it's just growing and growing. And this has had at least one flower and sometimes two since April 28th. Just saying. Okay, I had to show you because this was my free gift orchid, and from Rosehampton Orchids, Roehampton Orchid, not Rose. And I don't know, I'm so pleased. Maybe in the growing season, in the spring, we'll start to get leaves. Right now, she's just all about flowering, and if this plant grows thick, can you imagine? I'm just looking ahead. There, so I wanted to discuss that before I take you on the tour. And then, of course, this is the orchid I repotted over a month ago. Never lost any flowers yet, not one. All the buds have opened, and even though I repotted it again and checked the roots, remember I took some rotten ones off, still no sign of anything slowing down. Amazing, just amazing. So I make sure she gets good humidity, so she's near the sink. Now I don't have my humidifiers on today because it's raining and the humidity is probably pretty high. But in this bowl, it's a nice bowl I got at a garage sale. In this bowl I have water, but I have also an upside down old ashtray. So there's water under the ashtray, but she doesn't get it near her or near the pot. She's sitting above it, but the humidity rises around her. And it just helps her. I'm trying, the leaves still feel pretty firm. They limped a little from all she's been through and the change in medium, but they're feeling, I'm not disappointed. So she goes over here and she does have that little bit of humidity. So I have to start lunch, but before I do, we're going to go on a little tour. I want to show you just how my things are doing. So this is the kitchen window, and these were the wire pots I had. I've had them for years. I haven't even changed the potting mix in them, but there is a spike coming in here, and there's a leaf I haven't taken off, and most of them are on spike. I see this one also has a spike. Now I didn't do as good as this matting because I cut it from a roll, but those pots that came from Amazon are pretty amazing. So most of these are in spike. I didn't lose too many leaves this year. I did notice that, but during the real heat, the growth did slow down a little. Now this one, because it has a thing on it, there was 2 that were out in the greenhouse almost dead. And I thought, well, I didn't have the heart to throw them in the garbage. So I put them here, and that's one of them. They never got to be in the house. They never got babied. They just were out there. So there's spikes coming here too. They're hiding. There's one long one. I think there's 2 on this one somewhere. Yeah, there's another one back here. So there's 2 on this little one, and this one here is getting 1, I think. I'm not sure. I think it has another one coming. So, and this traffic cone here, it has quite a few leaves. Hasn't lost a leaf in a while, although you can see the growth where they were small before. Now we get the bigger, wider leaves and a nice spike coming there. They love the traffic cones. Roots are coming out happily. And of course, these 2, they didn't get a lot of growth this year either, but they haven't lost too much. So, and actually even these were 2 that I found sad. They were from summer a year ago. They are both spiking. And here, this is Moonglow. She has a spike, and she has something happening on the stem that I cut, but not right to the bottom. And this is the big lip. Well, she flowered in the summer, and she's getting a new leaf. And this one has 2 spikes, one here, and I think there's, maybe not, maybe 1. I'm thinking of a different one. So we have spikes there, and this is the other one with one of these that didn't get looked after very well, but it has a spike coming, and root growth is good. So that's what's happening in this window. Now, this plant, I don't know the name of it, I got it at a garage sale in the bowl, but it's pretty, and it can be here in full sun. I don't have to put it out anywhere. It just loves it. So, and the light here, now this is an old LED strip light. This is all I use on the dark days. Now it's turned yellow just from age, this one. And I'll show you the difference. It's sticky, and it unsticks a bit, but when it's warm and you keep sticking it, finally it stays. But then it's easy to change too, because we did change the one in the other window. So in here, this is a new one Jack changed because, and oh yeah, you can see here, it's sticky and it's come on, and for a while you just have to kind of push it back up, but it's kind of handy because you can put it where you need it. So those are 2 roots coming out there, not a spike. I didn't see anything happening in there in the basket. That's one reason I have them at the top of this window where it's cooler. And this traffic cone has a spike and good, let me see if I can get up there. Good leaf growth. Nice and wide, that's what you want, is nice length and width. So it's doing good. And this one's growing a new leaf and no sign of a spike, but it was in spike late last year, so maybe it'll be late. But good leaf development. And in this little traffic cone, and these are the rubber ones. I didn't like the hard plastic ones. It has a nice spike. Not as much leaf here, but this is my oldest orchid that I almost lost, and I cut the baby off, which is in the other pot. She's spiking nicely this year. And of course, this was a new orchid that I got this year, about when we gave away our free items. And the leaves are still good. It hasn't used up the stem and seems happy. So I'm not expecting a spike there because it was in flower just a few months ago. Now the 2 I put here, this is the one orchid that I already had. It's healthy, very healthy. It never used up the spike from last year, and it's growing a nice new spike. And this is the new orchid, and I don't see a spike yet. It's growing a leaf. It's struggling, but it's fine. I've checked it out. And these two were both orchids of mine that I put together, and they're both in spike. So they're looking good. Now this little one, I don't see a spike, but these were the hard plastic and they didn't hold the paint. So there's my Hoya and full view. So this is the west side of the house. So when there's light, they get lots of light because they're right in the window. They're not backed off. But in the summer, I could not do that. And that's why I moved mine. And one other thing before we go, of course, the rabbit's foot fern, it did pretty good this year. Let's see if I can get in here. Jack will be coming up for lunch. I hear the elevator. So, okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Okay, there's no spitting from this. Finally got it centered, the plate working good. And here, now, these seem to be doing good. There's some growth happening. You know, I'm not rushing it. I'm giving it time now. And this is what I cut off of my oldest orchid, and it's been suffering for years, but hanging in. This one here, Seagull Crawfish Pie, she's got new root growth, and she seems to be happy. There's some new little shoots. So far, I think we're going to just go with this. And back in here, that's Phalaenopsis. I think the root system is looking good. And here's the little slipper orchid I put in here. And in here, I'm keeping her low. I see some good root growth because this one, Herata retrocala, she was just about a goner. So, and then it could be January before I get my windows. Things are slow, but we're waiting. A lot of changes will happen then. So I brought Alphinia. It usually sits here, not. You know, there's water in the bottom, but she's nowhere near it. And, you know, I just have trouble with that name. There we go. I don't know why. My tongue won't wrap around it. So this is my Phalaenopsis, and she did get some crinkles. So I'm hoping that give her some time. This one, the Militasia, is doing really good. Lots of good growth. So I can't complain. I can't complain. So that's it for now. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. Bye for now.